Welcome to our Live True to You podcast. I'm Juna.
Sabina.
We're from Synergy in Motion. And yes, it is all about living true to you. And every week we bring you something to ponder through the week. We bring you an energy that is very present in the world. And this week
we have a very fiery theme. And it's all about emotions. And also, when you look on the planet, volcanoes are becoming more and more active. We're going towards a solar peak where the sun has a lot of solar flares. So it is a very fiery time. And we also live in a time of big changes. Like lots of changes are unfolding. And that brings forth the fire, or the fire brings forth the change, whichever way around you want to see it. But it's this intense times.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this week, the hexagram is fire over fire. So that's just a powerful symbol. So this week and in the next couple of weeks, we've been in this really emotional time where the emotions can be really high, and you can be like desire, and the desire of fire, passion. We just passed Valentine's Day, and maybe that brought up a whole bunch of stuff for you. Who knows? Maybe you had passionate love with someone. It's really high emotion, and then also diving into the depths of despair. The hope to pain cycle is very prevalent from probably 2-3 weeks ago for the next couple of weeks. So we're really in this emotional, intense times. What tempers the fire is water. So we're working with this polarity of this intense feelings of emotions. And then also we've got the watery depths. So the watery depths is kind of this energy that can give you the grounding to this high fire of desire, and just going off and burning yourself up in desire. Coming down to self-care and to nurturing yourself is super important during these intense times.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we have noticed in our personal life and with the clients that we're working with is that often when we're in the high or the low, what we're actually doing is we're closing down, right? We stop receiving, we stop being present, we stop reaching out and engaging with the world, and we're engaging with our own world. And we were talking beforehand about what would we like to share? How will we make this real? And we have two very good stories illustrating of how important it is to be present in those times. So for example, years back, we used to do health shows, and we went to a health show in Toronto after we did 2 previous weekends as well. And I was exhausted. I was thinking, I'm going to just fall over and fall asleep right there on the table. And then I had to do a talk like in half an hour, and I had no idea. I was so tired. Emotionally, I was depleted. I was at my wit's end. And somehow there was this voice inside of me saying, hey, open up. What else can you receive? From where else can you receive? And in that moment, my whole focus shifted, and I opened up to receiving. Instead of contracting and feeling sorry for myself and freaking out, how am I going to do this talk? I opened up and I received, and suddenly my body had a whole new level of energy available. So ever since, I really practice that when I'm tired, exhausted, thinking there's nothing left in me to give, which might be true, but the energy is endless. There's lots of energy available all the time. And I tapped into that, and I allowed it to flow through me instead of just from within me.
That's a really good example of the intensity of exhaustion.
Right.
So there can be intense like fire and anger, but there can be intense exhaustion. And the clients that we're meeting these days are really, they're tired. That's kind of one of the biggest complaints or issues facing people today. And you might be one of those people that just feel so burnt out, exhausted. you have so much you want to do and just not enough hours in the day, and then just feeling kind of depleted, like what you were saying. And in those moments when you can open up and receive rather than being the one who has to control everything, I think that's what's so exhausting. Right? So, and my story is a little bit different, because in my story, again, it was a story of many years ago where I felt really betrayed by someone very close to me. And I was angry. I was so angry and frustrated. And I went to my book. I was reading When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron, and The Places That Scare You at the time. So I don't know what book it was, but I remember going into my meditation, being really angry, and, those fiery emotions like, why did they do this to me? Shouldn't be happening. And then it was about a loving kindness meditation, and I was crying and the words were blurring, and it was something like, open your heart. And I'm like, what? Open my heart? In this time, I felt literally like my heart was so closed and constricted, and I felt like stab wounds to my heart. I'm a bit dramatic. Yes, I am. So it was like these stab wounds, and I just was closing. And then this thing, open your heart. And it was just, okay, I will do my best. And all of a sudden I was able to open up. And like Sabina's just receive, I could open up like flower petal by flower petal and just receive the love that I had for this person. And in a flash, in an instant, it changed everything. And I could really have loving compassion for that person. I could have loving compassion for myself, and everything kind of melted away. And I mean, that's the power of when you can open up in those precise times when you want to close down and when you want to shut down, and you've already heard the story from your partner a million times, and you feel like you know what they're going to say, and you shut down. No, open up. And what else is there?
Mm-hmm. So, and our instinctual response is to protect, like this. Yeah. But what actually changes the situation is welcoming the fire, welcoming the intensity, and going beyond. And there are some very simple steps that you can do. Number one, breathe. Because when you shut down, right now, take like a deep breath.
Yeah, whatever these stories stirred up in you, it might stir up emotions in you, and just breathe through your emotions, breathe through this moment.
Mm-hmm. A breath always expands and then lets go and then expands. So focusing on your breath can be the one thing that you do that will shift that contraction into actually opening up. Mm. Also, connecting with your body helps, because a lot of times when we're in these intensities, 90% of that is in our head. Yeah, we make up stories. We create living hell on earth by allowing our mind to tell us a story that's very horrible, and we're victims and we have the right, or whatever that story is in your mind. And by just saying, hi, I'm here, brings you into the present moment. Yeah. And your body's always there for you, right? So just allowing yourself to connect with your body. Do that right now. What a good moment this is. Fires are burning everywhere, but this is a good moment with me.
Mm-hmm. And there's another piece that we like to add to this, and that is to connect with the earth. And just allow your body right now. So you're touching your body, you're breathing, and then let your body sink into the earth, whether you're sitting in a chair or lying down or your feet are on the ground. Just allow the earth to come up and to receive you and your body and your emotional intensity, whether it's a collapse, whether it's an emotional high. Let the earth hold you, and just notice what that does to you, your body, and your energy right now.
And if you don't know how to let the earth hold you, she does. You're not floating off this planet. Just feel that, how the earth always holds your sheer weight.
Yeah, gravity, like sinking, let yourself sink down rather than, sometimes we get all flustered and we're like, deep breath and let the earth hold you. And just even that image of the earth holding you, letting yourself lie down on a couch, or, your bottom in the chair.
Grass.
Yes, your feet on the ground. All of that is connecting to the earth in some way, shape, or form.
And earth is an incredibly loving, fiercely loving energy that will always hold you from day one to day zero.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like you were talking about the volcanoes and the fire. I just keep thinking the fire that consumes, but the earth holds the fire. It is present with all of it. And the volcanoes in Iceland are ripping through the earth, but then there's a self-healing. There's something that shifts it and meets that. Like sometimes we need this sort of destructive energy of the earth to transform something totally different so something else can show up.
And that's the times that we're living in right now.
Yeah.
We experience these intensities on so many levels, whether that is social or environmental or philosophical. What is actually real, right? So there are lots of fires burning to prepare, to fertilize the ground for the new to come. And to ride these waves of intensity, the fiery waves, it is so important to remember the water that nurtures the earth, nurtures you. And like really allowing that in, because without that, the fires are going to be destructive beyond what they need to be. So our invitation to you this week is to just become aware of when are you closing down when there's intensity, or when there seems to be no intensity and that is so intense. Your boredom is so intense, you're closing down, right? It's both ends. So, and in those times, breathe, connect with your body, allow the earth to hold you, and ask yourself, what else, whom else can I receive from? And allow the energy to come to you and nurture you. Allow the water in the fire to nurture you, to give you the strength to keep on being open, having an open heart and loving.
And even in the dark times, fire is also the brightness. So the brightness of the fire can clear a path and guide us on. We light a torch in the night and it guides us. It destroys the darkness and it brings in the light. So that's another image for you. It's complex. We are complex, and it's like you said, it's both and how to be with intensity instead of shutting down. That's when we really hurt ourselves.
So we're asking you, inviting you to play with fire and water, both. And if you are looking for extra support, extra delicious support, we're always here. We have radionics and human design. All those things can help you move with more ease through these challenging times.
Yeah. So
just reach out.
Yes.
And connect with us.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you have something juicy to contemplate this week. We're in emotional times, and the wisdom is to not make any decisions in the high or the low, but just to really find that place of peace, that tranquility within you, and come to that place of peace through the steps that we were giving you in this video today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.